In May 2017, the world witnessed one of the most devastating cyber attacks in history, the WannaCry ransomware attack. Unlike typical viruses, WannaCry was a crypto worm that spread autonomously across networks without requiring a user to click a malicious link or open an attachment. It infected systems by exploiting a Microsoft Windows vulnerability known as Eternal Blue, a powerful exploit originally developed by the U.S. National Security Agency, NSA, but leaked to the public by a hacker group known as the Shadow Brokers. Once inside a computer, WannaCry locked users out of their data and demanded a ransom of $300 to $600 in Bitcoin to decrypt the files. Within just a few days, it infected over 200,000 computers across 150 countries, paralyzing major global entities, including the UK's National Health Service, NHS, FedEx, and international car manufacturing plants. Economic losses were estimated to reach up to $4 billion. The chaos was only halted when a 22-year-old British security researcher named Marcus Hutchins found a hidden domain name in the malware's code. By registering this $10 domain, he inadvertently triggered a kill switch that instantly stopped the ransomware from spreading further. Following extensive investigations, the US and UK governments formally attributed this unprecedented global attack to the Lazarus Group, a state-sponsored hacking team backed by North Korea.
In June 2017, the world witnessed the most destructive and costly cyber attack in history, NotPetya. Unleashed by the Russian military intelligence group known as Sandworm, NotPetya was cleverly disguised as standard ransomware. However, it was actually a malicious wiper tool designed to permanently destroy data, meaning victims could never recover their files even if they paid the demanded ransom. The attack began by infiltrating a Ukrainian accounting software update, but it quickly spiraled out of control. Powered by a stolen NSA vulnerability exploit called Eternal Blue and a password-stealing tool called Mimikatz, NotPetya spread automatically and indiscriminately across global corporate networks. The devastation was staggering. It paralyzed international ports operated by shipping giant Maersk, crippled FedEx's TNT systems, and took down banks, metro systems, and power grids worldwide. Causing over $10 billion in total damages, NotPetya was a reckless act of cyber warfare that proved exactly how a localized attack can rapidly crash the global economy.
Imagine a computer virus so powerful it destroys physical machinery, all without anyone noticing. That's Stuxnet. Discovered in 2010, Stuxnet was an incredibly sophisticated cyberweapon, widely believed to be a joint operation by the United States and Israel, codenamed Operation Olympic Games. Its ultimate target? Iran's nuclear program, specifically the Natanz uranium enrichment facility. Because the facility was air-gapped, meaning it was completely disconnected from the internet, Stuxnet had to be introduced physically, likely via infected USB drives. Once inside the network, it silently hunted down the specific Siemens industrial control systems used to run the plant. Stuxnet then secretly manipulated the speed of the spinning nuclear centrifuges, causing them to physically tear themselves apart. The most insidious part? It intercepted sensor data and fed fake, normal readings to the plant operator's screens, acting like a digital Hollywood heist. The Iranian scientists had no idea they were under a cyber attack, originally believing they just had faulty hardware. Ultimately, Stuxnet disabled or destroyed about 1,000 centrifuges, going down in history as the first formal act of cyber sabotage to cross over and cause real-world physical destruction. The biggest data breach in history didn't happen to a bank or government, but to one of the internet's original giants, Yahoo. Between 2013 and 2014, Yahoo suffered back-to-back catastrophic cyber attacks. The 2013 breach remains the largest ever recorded, compromising all 3 billion existing Yahoo accounts. Just a year later, a second attack, orchestrated by Russian state-sponsored hackers and their hired cybercriminals, hit another 500 million users. Hackers used tactics like spear phishing and forged cookies to bypass passwords entirely. They made off with a treasure trove of sensitive information, including names, emails, phone numbers, dates of birth, and unencrypted security questions. What makes this story even worse? Yahoo didn't publicly disclose these breaches until 2016. The delayed response and poor security cost the company dearly. Their acquisition price to Verizon was slashed by a massive $350 million, and they were hit with a $35 million SEC fine and a $117.5 million class action settlement. It remains a textbook warning for the digital age. Nobody is too big to be hacked. In 2017, the world witnessed one of the most devastating cybercrimes in history when Equifax, a major U.S. consumer credit reporting agency, was breached. The cyber attack began in mid-May and went undetected for an astonishing 76 days, allowing hackers to slowly and covertly extract data from dozens of databases. How did a massive financial institution fall victim to this? The hackers simply exploited a known vulnerability in a web application framework called Apache Struts. Even though a free security patch was available and Equifax had been directly warned by the Department of Homeland Security, the company failed to properly update its systems. Furthermore, the intrusion went entirely unnoticed because a critical digital certificate used to monitor encrypted network traffic had been expired for 19 months. The fallout was catastrophic. The personal information of approximately 148 million Americans, nearly half the U.S. population, was exposed, along with data from millions of British and Canadian citizens. The stolen data included highly sensitive details like names, social security numbers, birth dates, and addresses. Ultimately, this massive security failure cost Equifax's top executives their jobs and forced the company to agree to a historic global settlement worth up to $425 million. The SolarWinds hack is widely considered one of the most sophisticated and widespread cyber espionage campaigns in history. It was a classic supply chain attack, meaning hackers did not target their end victims directly, but instead compromised a trusted third-party software vendor. Starting in 2019, threat actors backed by the Russian Foreign Intelligence Service, SVR, infiltrated SolarWinds, a major Texas-based software company. The attackers secretly inserted a malicious backdoor known as Sunburst into routine software updates for SolarWinds' popular Orion network monitoring platform. Because the update carried a valid digital signature, about 18,000 organizations unknowingly downloaded the infected code between March and June 2020. Once inside the networks, the hackers quietly stole data and spied on emails for months without triggering alarms. The breach severely impacted high-profile targets, including top private technology companies and several U.S. federal agencies like the Departments of Homeland Security, Defense, Treasury, and Justice. This devastating attack forced organizations and governments worldwide to completely rethink the security of their software supply chains. In the spring of 2007, Estonia experienced what is widely considered the world's first major act of cyber warfare. The trigger was political. The Estonian government decided to relocate the Bronze Soldier, a Soviet-era war memorial in the capital city of Tallinn. What followed was a massive 3-week-long wave of distributed denial of service, or DDoS attacks. Hackers unleashed a swarm of up to 2 million hijacked botnet computers to flood Estonian servers with crippling amounts of data. Because Estonia is a highly advanced digital society, the impact was severe. The attacks crippled parliamentary networks, major news outlets, and the country's largest banks, temporarily isolating Estonia both financially and informationally. While the Russian government denied direct involvement, the sophisticated onslaught was traced back to Russian-language hackers and IP addresses. This unprecedented event served as a global wake-up call, ultimately leading NATO to establish its Cooperative Cyber Defense Center of Excellence right in Estonia to prepare for the future of digital warfare. In November 2014, Hollywood faced one of its most notorious cyber attacks when Sony Pictures Entertainment was brought to a standstill. Employees arrived at work to find their computers rendered inoperable, locked by a glowing red skull from a hacker group calling themselves the Guardians of Peace. Using destructive wiper malware, the hackers completely paralyzed Sony's network and stole massive amounts of highly confidential data. In the following weeks, they leaked unreleased blockbuster movies, thousands of employee social security numbers, and embarrassing internal emails that exposed Hollywood pay gaps and executive secrets. The FBI ultimately concluded that the North Korean government was behind the attack. Their motive? To stop the release of The Interview, a Sony comedy film about a fictional plot to assassinate North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. After the hackers threatened movie theaters with 9/11-style violence, Sony initially canceled the film's theatrical premiere, eventually pivoting to a historic digital streaming release. Ultimately, the breach cost Sony tens of millions of dollars and permanently changed how the entertainment industry handles cybersecurity. On May 7, 2021, the United States suffered the largest cyber attack on its energy infrastructure in history. The target? The Colonial Pipeline, a critical system supplying 45% of the fuel consumed on the U.S. East Coast. A cybercriminal group called DarkSide infiltrated the network using a single compromised VPN password that lacked multi-factor authentication. After the hackers stole 100 gigabytes of data and deployed ransomware, the company was forced to halt all pipeline operations to contain the threat. The shutdown triggered instant chaos, widespread panic buying, massive gas station shortages across the Southeast, soaring fuel prices, and even disrupted airline flights. Desperate to restore this vital fuel artery, the company's CEO made the controversial choice to pay a $4.4 million ransom in Bitcoin. While the U.S. Justice Department later tracked down and recovered about half of those funds, the Colonial Pipeline hack serves as a chilling wake-up call about the fragile security of our critical infrastructure. In late 2013, one of the most devastating cyber attacks in retail history hit Target, compromising the sensitive data of a staggering 110 million customers. But the hackers didn't break down Target's front door. Instead, they targeted a smaller third-party HVAC contractor. After stealing the vendor's login credentials through a simple phishing email, the attackers gained a foothold in Target's billing system. Because Target's network lacked proper segmentation, the hackers easily maneuvered from the vendor portal directly into the company's point-of-sale systems. Right before the busy Black Friday weekend, they installed BlackPOS RAM-scraping malware across thousands of cash registers, capturing credit card data the exact moment it was swiped. The craziest part? Target's automated security software actually detected the malware and triggered multiple urgent alerts, but the security team completely ignored them. By the time the breach was discovered by an external party, the hackers had already smuggled the data to servers in Russia. The breach ultimately cost Target over $200 million and forced both their CEO and CIO to resign, proving that a company's cybersecurity is only as strong as its weakest vendor.